All right. The Week 11 recap edition and Monday Night Football Bombs edition of the Bottom Line Bombs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code BOMBS to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football in the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And with that, we'll begin a show by hitting a theme song button. Welcome to the Bottom Line Bombs. I am your host, the Laddy Daddy, scumbagger Vance, the Deli Llama Deli Roll, the Bet Detective, the man in the box, CJ Sullivan. How we doing there, C-Generates? Welcome to the show where picks come with bits for tobacco use only. Other catchphrases and hooks to get you listening and watching and interacting. If you're watching now on X, I appreciate it. Come on over to the YouTube. That way you can comment, get in, enrage me, and engage me. Chat's already filling up as we begin. We got Virgil. Love Virgil coming in. He says, yo, 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 good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, sir. It is. It's 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock if you're in that wacky mountain time zone live. That's the live broadcast. And it is whatever time it is you are listening to now if you're listening to on the podcast, which I'm fine with that too. Crank up those numbers. But I like to get the live show in, interact. We got a Monday Night Football game tonight, sort of, between the Texans and the Cowboys. I'm all for it. Well, bro, I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm going to recap the weekend, which, of course, was the NFL games and the contest picks. But we also had a major event on Friday night. We had Tyson, Jake Paul. Want to get into that. I'm broadcasting live from Eagle Rock, California. We'll get into the Cowboys game soon. Serial in the chat room says Houston alt line -20. I haven't seen Serial in a while. Good to see you, buddy. He's a Cowboy fan, so I think he's being a little bit self-depreciating. What I understand when your team's bad. And listen, I don't mean to pile on, but it is the Cowboys, so it is fun to pile on. People are like, God, because they're going to be on primetime a lot, not just tonight. Thanksgiving, obviously, and then they got another Monday night, then a Sunday night. It's all in a row, and I'm all for it. Put them on with Netflix. Have the Cowboys getting destroyed by every team as the preview of Tyson Paul. I want to hit those kind of numbers, which Netflix is bragging was like 60 million people saw Tyson Paul fucking stand around each other. You know what? Go to hell, Netflix. You don't get the flex on this. One. It's interesting now that you know your numbers now, Netflix. Oh, now you know exactly how many people tuned in. How about during the how about for other TV shows when they want to get paid for the streams and comedy specials and all the strikes are going, there's no way to figure it out, and then stolen passwords and all that. Fucking crooks. Absolute crooks, Netflix. And the streaming was a debacle. It was buffering, spinning around. And we're going to have football games on Christmas. You better clean this up, Netflix. The best is when they had Jerry Jones on there. He's like, yeah, Netflix is going to be a big part of the NFL future. Then his mic goes out. Which I'm all for Jerry Jones' mic going out, but also, come on, Netflix. Get a hold of yourselves. The fight itself obviously was terrible. Kind of just how I said it was going to be. Tyson was just too old. His legs were dead. He couldn't attack. He couldn't move back. He couldn't do anything. And Jake Paul just, he's Jake Paul. Another thing about this fight, I don't want to hear Netflix flex about how many people watched it. And I certainly don't want to hear the books talk about how great they did. You already know I hate when they do that and what the books need and all that shit. Listen, we all know everyone bet on Mike Tyson. They didn't do it with their head. The smart thing to do, of course, was to bet on a guy who wasn't 58 years old and apparently was fighting for his life in his hospital bed 3 months earlier. How about that tweet? Mike Tyson tweets out about how he had to lose 3 pints of blood. He was on his deathbed and 3 months ago. Well, that's an injury report I could have used before I bet on the fight. How about that injury report? Let alone the other guy, Paul, is clearly on fucking double stacking steroids. But anyway, the point is, you don't get to flex how many fucking people watch that nonsense. And I certainly don't want to hear how great the books did because everyone bet on Tyson. Right. We were betting with our hearts, not just nostalgia. We wanted him to kill him. Something to shut this prankster up, this troll up. And we didn't get it. But, you know, he got paid. I know. Everyone's saying, but aren't you happy for Tyson to get? Yeah, sure. I'm happy Mike Tyson got the bag, as they say. They say 20 million, whatever. Good for him. What about us? I didn't get anything for that. Matter of fact, I lost money. I took some Jake Paul back because you guys couldn't admit it. You couldn't admit you bet on Jake Paul. If you were out watching the fight or something, you get pension. No, I didn't bet Jake Paul. What are you talking about? You quietly bet Jake Paul. Anyway, it's chat room coming on in. ML says, CJ, what's up? What's up? Virgil said he heard Tyson got 30 million, Paul 40 million. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. Of course they did. Now Jake Paul wrote the whole show, right? He wrote that entire show. Everything had to be written. I mean, to a T. And people were saying this, asking me beforehand, is there a world where Tyson, throws the fight? Because he gets paid. Yeah, of course there's a world. Tyson's broke. He's always, he's not broke, but like we are broke, but, broke for his standards. So he could use a he'll do it. He's fucking pushing mushrooms. He's eating his weight in magic mushrooms. He's doing musicals on Broadway. You're goddamn right. He'll take a dive to Jake Paul. Why would he care? Like I said last time, this isn't going to hurt his reputation. Like, it's sad. It was all sad for us to watch and confusing. But never once was his reputation on the line. No one was ever going to accuse Mike Tyson of not being an absolute fucking killer. He's Mike Tyson. He's put into the work. How about that thing at the end, too, when they're like, read the room, Pauls. The stage thing of, hey, so are you done fighting, Mike? No, I might fight him next. And he goes to his brother, Logan Paul. He's like, fucking motherfucker, I'll kill you. Obviously stage, right? And we're all like, shut up. We don't want to hear that now. This is not the time for that kind of energy. Even if it's fake, and we know this is fake and set up, we still don't want to see that energy. We want everyone to go away. Collect your money and stop rubbing it in. We're not doing this again. Certainly not now. Congratulations and all, but Jesus God. Congratulations getting paid and for fooling everyone. And it's funny the way they were talking about it, too. Like, everyone's just like, well, it was an event. It was something. They couldn't quite call it boxing because it wasn't. And it was definitely part of the agreement, I think, that he wasn't going to get knocked out. You couldn't knock. It would have been, besides not just elderly abuse. That could have been manslaughter. If you killed an old man like that on TV, like, Jesus. I do kind of respect Jake Paul for this. He's made this heel character. He's created this heel character, which I said, you'll never go broke in the fight business if you're a heel. In wrestling, that's a huge thing. Boxing, obviously. It's the most important thing, really, is to have a villain that everyone wants to see get hurt. And that's why people keep watching Jake Paul fight. And Jake Paul, he kind of does like this Andy Kaufman thing with wrestling where, Andy Kaufman, the comic, would only wrestle women. He would only wrestle women, and he played the heel, and people would get so furious. He'd be like, why don't you wrestle a man? And he'd be like, no, I don't do that. That's not what I do. A man would beat me. Why would I do that? And Jake Paul's kind of the same way. Like, why don't you fight an actual boxer that's, I don't know, within 10 years of your age? Nope, not at all. I don't do that. I fight retired MMA fighters. I'll fight a basketball player. I'll fight literally a brain dead old fucking legend. Anything but a worthy competitor. Why would I do that? I'd lose. So he's smart enough to know that. I'll give him that. And you guys should be smart enough to download the SGPN app. How about that, huh? If you're missing out, the SGPN app gives you access to all the podcasts on the network and the picks pages in one convenient app. Plus, like all our content, and the app is completely free. Type in SGPN in your app store to download it today. So Virgil says, Coffin Wrestling Women was great. It really was. Because you get so angry. And that's what Jake Paul does. He gets so angry. Like, why is he fighting this old man? So that became a running joke. He's going to fight Jimmy Carter next. I don't know if you follow me on X, C-Generates. You should, at CJ Sullivan _ or on Instagram, at CJ Sullivan was taken. But I tweeted out the next morning watching College Game Day, which is a fine show. They keep bringing Lee Corso out there, and I always say that, I mean, it's getting rough with Lee Corso. Love Lee Corso. I have nothing against him, but like ESPN dragging him out of the fucking hospital to put on a mascot head is getting it's hard to watch. And my joke was ESPN should do the right thing and let him fight Jake Paul graciously. You know, that's how everyone should just end their careers. Al Michaels, you want to retire? Okay, we'll let you retire, but Bob Costas wants to retire? Fine. Go fight Jake Paul. That's how you end your career. That's how we all do it now. Fight one of the Paul. It doesn't have to be Jake Paul. You have to fight some kind of influencer. Mr. Beast or the guy who speaks Chinese. The white guy who speaks Chinese when undetected. They don't know it. That's a good guy. Or you have to fight a fucking First Amendment auditor. That'd be kind of amazing. Let's get old retired. All right, we can really do this, C-Generates, if we put our powers together. Let's get all kinds of YouTubers to fight, not just ones that are actually training to fight. I mean, I will give Jake Paul this. He is, he takes boxing seriously. He's training to fight. He's not just like a guy like, hey, I can do this, and then they get killed. Which we kind of wish that was the case, that he put no effort into it. We wish it was that guy who did a bit in a suicide forest in Japan, which I always thought Jake Paul kind of got a bad rap for that. Was it Jake Paul or Logan Paul? Whatever. Then in Japan, there's a forest where you go to kill yourself. It's like known. And he did like a video. Like, look at these bodies hanging. And they were showing how disrespectful it was. And, obviously he was being disrespectful in Japan. I'm sure he was. But for that, I mean, who are you disrespecting? The people who killed themselves? Yeah, these people who quit on life. You got to show them some respect. Anyway, so he does train for it, and it's kind of funny because he has so much money. Jake Paul, his boxing trainers are like some of the best in the world. I mean, incredible trainers, and they're always like, yeah, he listens to what we say. I got to give him that. He's in there. He takes it seriously. He's fight. Can he be a boxer? No, he couldn't be a boxer, but he can fight. He can fight. He can fight you for sure. It's kind of like the Blues Brothers, I think. Like John Belushi. He wasn't I wouldn't say he was a great blues singer or a blues star like that. He was a star. Love John Belushi. But the band itself, the Blues Brothers band, were all world-class blues musicians. Like Dan Aykroyd, single-handedly picked them because he was like enthusiast of blues music. And the band was awesome. The Blues Brothers band's awesome. Now, Belushi, all right, he's a front man, but he's not really a singer. But that's kind of like Jake Paul. He's got these guys behind him that are incredible. And then he does what he does, and he pulls in the money. So they did what they did. They got us. We watched it. There was a buzz in the air with Tyson. Well, then the big scene was his ass. That's what I also. Then people want to know, did Jake Paul write that? Where Mike Tyson showed his ass. If you see the thumbnail, it was kind of funny. It was shocking. He's doing an interview in the locker room, and then he walks away, And then it's boom, full on moon cheeks of Tyson. Like, whoa, what the hell was that? Like an old man at the gym, who just walks around naked. Jesus, buddy, get a robe on, will you? Put a towel on. So I had a few friends asking, you think that was written by Jake Paul? And I was like, no way. He was establishing dominance is what I said. But also an old man at the gym. And I was told that there was not the right take by a few of my friends of African-American persuasion. They're like, yeah, no, that's humiliating the black men. That's not how we establish dominance. All right, not me. I mean, who am I to tell you what's racist and what's not? That's never good optics. So I bowed out of that conversation pretty quick in the thread and went back to giving out picks. Anyway, all right, let me take a quick break here. Virgil says Belushi doing Joe Cocker, hilarious on SNL. That was incredible. Next to Joe Cocker, that was even better. Joe Cocker did Saturday Night Live. Also, incredible cover. One of the rare ones where the cover is way better than the original. Joe Cocker's Little Help from My Friends. And like 10 times better than the Beatles version. And then he did it. Then Belushi did it next to him. That was amazing. Belushi at one point, it's hard to underestimate how huge of a star John Belushi was. He had the number one album, the number one movie, and the number one show in the world, or America at least, at the same time. He had Animal House, Blues Brothers, and Saturday Night Live, all number one, like album, show, movie, incredible. And then he died of drugs. Anyway, so let's talk about MyBookie. We're back. MyBookie. SGPN started being sponsored by MyBookie.ag. And now they're doing a 10-year anniversary. Now we're back to it. MyBookie. Wherever I bet, he bets. MyBookie. MyBookie and me. Check out the new improved website. Great on mobile, too. I actually have a MyBookie account. I dialed it up once we realized there were sponsors again, and I had money on there. I didn't even know. They got early cash-out options. Their mobile is good. They can't quite do an app, but it's still good on mobile. So head to mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. You get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. We're back. That's pretty good. $1,000, like 100% bonus. 100%. You deposit. That means if you deposit $200, they'll match your $200, but all the way up to $1,000 of free play. That's pretty damn good. So mybookie.ag. Let's see what they got. Let's see what they have for the lines tonight. Actually, I'll highlight a bet. Let's get right into the Monday Night Football. Houston, Dallas. Houston -7. Total is 41. That's on mybookie.ag. Another standalone game. We did pretty good on Thursday night, by the way. Might as well tout myself there. The last I left you, we had the Eagles and the under, and we had the Dallas Goddard ladder. They all hit. Pretty great. Can't beat that with a bat. No, I'm Black Sheep. Can't beat that with a bat. Where is the cat? There it is. That's what I was looking for. Anyway, you can do with this. You can do with that. That's Black Sheep, right? I think so. All right. Anyway, Houston, Dallas, 741. Dallas is a mess. Absolute fucking mess. Dak Prescott out. Cooper Rush in quarterback. He was not good versus Philadelphia last week. 2 years ago is when he subbed in and had like 4 or 5 wins and did very well. The difference is that was a good Dallas Cowboy football team. That was a good roster. This is not. This Cowboy team was extremely top-heavy. And by that, I mean CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, and a couple of players. But that's it. They don't have a deep roster. So now you take out Dak Prescott and you have a bad quarterback. CeeDee Lamb's still great. He's still going to get his numbers. The sun will not be in his eyes tonight. It will be in Jerry World, where this awful Tyson Paul fight happened. All of the trends and gambling trends, like point to Dallas, meaning, 80% of the bets are on Houston. Dallas just got blown out. The close your eyes special, as Kramer and Sean like to point out. Like all the trends look for a bounce back situation for Dallas, but I don't care. I don't see it. If you want to bet on Dallas, go ahead. I'm not. I think Houston, first of all, Houston, they take this personal. This game of Texas shit, Battle of Texas, they take personally. If you remember Houston's first game, they beat the Cowboys their entire existence. And then they didn't win a game since that whole year. Texas football is just different. It's greasy. It's oily. Con money, scotch, and oil money. Now, Houston has not looked great. They looked great in the first half versus Detroit last week. Oh, yeah, that's another trend. The bite your ankles. The week after playing Detroit, teams don't do well. I'm throwing all that thing out. First of all, I'm bombing Houston -7. This might be the ultimate get-right game for Houston. Now, they get Nico Collins back, and that is massive for their offense. Stroud has not looked good. The problem with C.J. Stroud is the eyeball test, he always looks good. Like when he throws a pass and it's a touchdown, it looks beautiful. God damn it, he's great. Then you look at his numbers like, maybe he's not. He's not good. He's definitely in a sophomore slump. He needs Nico Collins back. And he will get him. Joe Mixon will have a big game tonight. His total is 89.5. That's pretty high. Cooper Rush's passing yards total is 176.5. I like the under there because there's a good chance Trey Lance gets in there. And a mod on if Trey Lance gets in there. It is a cash your Texans bets. If Trey Lance enters this game with a lot of time to go, we won. If you're holding Houston -7, you won. MyBookie.ag will probably offer you a 100% cash out. They'll say, we've seen enough. Anyway. CeeDee Lamb +210 anytime touchdown actually is kind of tempting. But I'm not touching any Cowboys. This is the bets I'm making. First of all, Houston's Texans. These will have two great kickers tonight, by the way. Dallas's only other player is their kicker. He's got 1.5 field goals. I'd bomb over that bomb. But Fairbaum, the Texans kicker, I play his over 1.5 field goals made every single week, and it hits every single week. I think he's only missed it once, or maybe twice. But it doesn't matter. It's like 8 out of 10. It's hit over 1.5 field goals. And the thing is with field goal numbers, they can't adjust the number. They'll juice it up a little bit. I think it's actually juiced like -180 now. I'd still lay it. Act like you're playing a Chris Sale play. Or you can parlay it with Aubrey, the Dallas kicker. Point is, he will have 2 field goals. Because as soon as they cross the 50, they're within range. He's like Seth Curry. And the way teams are now, they're just like, fuck it, we got our 3 points, lock it up. So I would lock in Fairbairn over 1.5 field goals. Cooper Rush under 176. I like Houston -7. And let's do a ladder while we're at it. Let's have a little Monday Night Fun night. Let me log into my bookie.ag because they also offer props. I don't know if we'll be able to hit the beanstalk. Can I? I'm just looking for the beanstalk thing. Where the heck are there? Goddamn. Oh, here it is. All right. Revenge angle. Who doesn't love a revenge angle when it comes to betting? That's all the handicap you need. And not only is revenge angle is so much better when you come back against a team that's doing way worse since you left. We all know when you have a big breakup, you don't want your ex doing well. You say, oh, I'm just happy she's happy. I'm just glad she's happy. That's all I want for her. No, it's not. You want her to be terrible. You want her to fucking be miserable every single day. That's what true fucking pettiness is. So I give you Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz, the old Cowboy tight end. He's now the Texans tight end. He's been having a slow year, but So is everyone on the Texans offense. I feel like with Nico Collins coming back, they're going to work him out. He's going to open up the field for Dalton Schultz. Now, his numbers are 2.5 receptions, 29.5 receiving yards. We're bombing both of those. Over both. But let's have fun and just do a little Dalton Schultz ladder. We'll go up to the first row. Let me pull out the ladder here and lock it in. All right. Is there a Texan sticker on there? I thought there was. I had a Texan sticker. Damn it. All right. Here is our ladder. All right. Dalton Schultz. 40 yards right here is plus 133, according to my bookie. The next rung, when we pull ourselves up, we're gonna save that lady up on the top floor, fireman style. We're gonna skip up to 60 yards is 3-1, plus 300. 50 yards is plus 200. But we're gonna go all the way to the top because we hear her screaming, and we're gonna be a hero. Dalton Schultz, and Texas pettiness is the greatest. 70 yards, plus 465. 80 yards up top here, and you can hear her screaming, plus 730. Then you save the lady, you bring her down the bladder, and she says, wait a minute, my cat's up there. What? The kitty's in the tree, too? You're damn right the kitty's in the tree. Where's the cat? Here it is. There's the cat. Oh, cat just fell. Anyway. 90 yards is 12-1. I'm sorry. 100 yards. Why not? Let's go for it. Dalton Schultz, 100 yards, plus 1966. Let's bomb it. Poor kitty. Let me put him back here in a face mask. All right. So why would we not go with Dalton Schultz on a revenge angle? Definitely love his over 2.5 receptions and over 25.5 yards. And he can get some nice chunk yards. Listen, when we're talking, I mean, this could be an absolute effing blowout. Now, I know you run against Dallas. We got a zig, you got a zag. Joe Mixon should have over 100 yards too, but that's such a huge number, not worth playing. I do like his over 16.5 longest rush. It's not a bad way to hit it. Anyway, those are my official plays for tonight's Monday Night Football game. Now let's stop talking about it. Like I said, it's going to be an ugly game to watch. And if the Cowboys are on, I just want them to get humiliated and lose by 50 like every single week. That could be a 24/7 streaming channel. I want a reaction show. I hate how everything's reactions now. Tom, the reactor, reacts to the Bears field goal. You know, I hate the reaction. I mean, I don't hate the reactions, but like the reactions of, oh, fuck, and all complaining. Let's get some positive reactions of laughing, just pure laughter at someone's embarrassment. And that's what I want. A Cowboy viewing hate party reaction. That's the programming I need to see. All right, so that's my Monday Night Football bombs. Bomb that. Good luck. See generous. Oh, and I forgot Fairbairn over 1.5 field goals. That's my autoplay every week in the Texans games. However you pronounce that fucking kicker's name. Houston's kicker over 1.5 field goals made. I mean, you don't even think about it. All right. Let's recap some of the NFL games that happened over the weekend. Circa Million contest I gave out on Thursday did not do well. The ones I gave out went 1-4. I actually switched a couple around and went 2-3. It doesn't matter. Quarterly tickets ripped up. You have to go 5-0 anyway. You have to go like 18-2 to have a chance. So even if I went 3-2 after going 4-1 last week, it still would have been bad. We had a chance of going 3-2, but the Bengals. Well, anyway, let's get into it. The one consensus win was the Buffalo Bills over Kansas City. That was a zigzag too. That was my Princess Bride moment. You know, where they're the battle of wits with the poison in the wine. He's going, you never get in a land war with a Mongolian and never get in a game with a Sicilian when death is on the line. Where he's just saying, but you think I would drink this poison because I would put it in front of you. I clearly can't do that one in front of me. Hilarious scene, hilarious movie. That was my thinking with the Buffalo Kansas City game. You can't go against Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. He's 15-1 as an underdog. You can't. I heard it so much where I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm taking the Bills. You know, because my first reaction was like, Bills, they're the better team. Kansas City hasn't been played well, but then it hurt. Everything switched around. We went with the Bills, and you know what? It could have went either way. I was actually impressed with Kansas City yesterday. Kansas City's been playing terrible all year, and they're undefeated. And the one game they lost yesterday, they actually looked good, I thought. They were out played. I mean, it was at Buffalo. It was a tough situation. But the way they responded to Buffalo, I thought was great. Like, Mahomes is leaving drives by himself. Kelsey, no catches. I mean, he's throwing bullets to Justin Watson and these bums. I'm like, how's Mahomes doing this? And they could have pulled it off. But it's so biblical with these two teams. My God, it's so narrative-driven. And the Bills were doing, and there's one point where I thought Kansas City was going to win because when teams play the Chiefs, they freak out mentally. Like, there was a time when the Bills could have kicked a field goal. They're up 6. They missed an extra point. That was a freak out. Then they're up 6, and a field goal would have put them up 9, and they decided to go for it from like the 35 or 30, from the 30, 4th and 3, and Allen just throws an insane interception that gets returned to the 40. Next thing you know, Chiefs are up by 1. Like, what? What were you doing? They had no momentum at all. And then they go for it at the end when it's 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, and they're up by 2. And as someone who had Bills minus 2.5, I'm like, kick the field goal for God's sakes. Go up 5. Kick the field goal. Because if they kick the field goal, go up 5, and then they lose because Mahomes drives them down, I don't care. At least that's how they lost. But if they missed that 4th down, and then Kansas City still didn't score, and they only won by 2, that would have been sickening. I would have hated that. Because if you're not gonna cover, don't win. Don't you pull that nonsense on me. But the Bills went for it because of their history. They couldn't leave it to a coin toss. And it's so biblical. I'm taking this all done. Josh Allen ran for 30 yards, and it was the play. He got his MVP moment and the whole thing. So it was great. And Kansas City is no longer undefeated. The Miami 7-2 Dolphins, the pettiest old-timers of old-timers, popped their champagne. Larry Zonka's popping champagne. Mercury Morris came out of the grave just to fucking rub it in the faces of Chiefs fans and Chiefs players. Like, no one cares about this undefeated record, 72 Dolphins. You guys won 14 games. The regular season was like 8 games long. No one ran less than a sub 5.240. Anyway. Yeah, dropping bombs on Noah Gray, Mahomes was, as Virgil clears out. And Virgil also says his favorite team is Washington, whoever's playing Dallas. You're damn right. Washington and Philly fans can come together with that, with the hatred of Dallas. Matter of fact, the entire NFC East and the league. Like, we all have our rivalries. Philly, New York. Philly, Washington. Washington, New York. And they're rivalries. They're NFC East rivalries. But when it comes to Dallas, it's like, oh, we all hate Dallas. We all can agree on that. But anyway, Buffalo got the win. We got the cover. Congratulations to them. And Josh Allen will get your MVP. All right, let me tell you about Underdog real quick, and then we'll get back and we'll recap the rest of the joins. The joins? People say that? Jones? And we'll get into some of the fun stuff that happened. Buffalo was the best game, obviously. But there's more fun things that also happened. But first, Underdog. Underdog Pick'em, one of the biggest menus of all sports. It's a great way to play fantasy. With all the props, I just gave it out. You can use specials and boost, flexed entries. Sign up with promo code BOMBS. Claim your special pick and first time deposit up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code BOMBS. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Let me switch over to Rhythm for you. The Rhythm's gonna bet you. Rhythm's gonna bet you. Rhythm's gonna bet you. With props. SGPN's proud partner is number one AI-powered Rhythm. Sports betting platform that helps provide bettors levels, all abilities, customs, get predictions, betting on money line spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model like that ring girl from the Jake Paul fight. Copy one of the top performing models like the other ring girls from the Jake Paul fight. From the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model for you. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Let me see who Rhythm likes tonight. I'll give you a play from Rhythm right now. You And you can find out by claiming your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're back on the Bottom Line Bombs. I did a dramatic pause so I could insert ads later. That's what you're doing. If you're watching me live, that's what that's all about. Rhythm, like I said, Rhythm likes the props. Their big play tonight is Rico Dowdle, the running back for Dallas, under 53.5 yards. They believe there's a 60% chance of that coming in. They predict him to get 45 yards today, so that's pretty good value. So why not sprinkle a little bit on that? See if the robots can make you money. They're coming for our jobs anyway, robots. Let's take some money. Anyway, all right. We are back here on the Bottom Line Bombs. Thank you, everyone, for joining the show and joining the live YouTube chat. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you're watching. That's what we need. Thumbs up. Say, give me the old Fonzie. Give me the old Cyber Fonzie. And subscribe, of course, to Bottom Line Bombs. Spread it around to your friends. Follow me on X. That's CJ Sullivan _ or Instagram. That's CJ Sullivan was taken. All right, let's talk about the NFL weekend on X. That's where you know where things are going on. Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh was a big game. I got off there. I gave out Ravens -3. Immediately regretted it. I switched to Denver. Denver was a winner. But let's talk about Baltimore. As soon as the game started, I'm like, oh, here we go. I even took the over. I'm like, this is going to be different. Baltimore's going to have #1 offense. Pittsburgh and a bad defense. Pittsburgh's going to be able to light it up. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When these two fucking uglies play, it's just going to be a rock fight, punching, and it's going to be a nice, backyard brawl. Gross. Like I said, they're two brothers. They're two brothers that fight in the kitchen. Blood, dishes are breaking. The mom starts crying, and then the brothers get up. Then the brother's like, "What's wrong, Mom? What? We're just fighting." I mean, Derrick Henry fumbles the first play. Patrick Queen's punching people in the face to get fumbles over for halftime. Boswell kicks 6 field goals. Tucker misses 2. The Steelers won without scoring a touchdown. Joe Burrow, this was a stat going around yesterday, in 2 games versus Baltimore has thrown for 9 touchdown passes. He hasn't won either of those games. The Joe Burrow stats are insane. I will get to that game in a bit. Poor Joey Burrow. But, so that was an obvious, the dog always covers. Get 3. It doesn't matter what happens. The dog always covers this game. And that's what it was. 18-16. What a hilarious Pittsburgh-Baltimore score. 18-16. That could have been who won. It doesn't matter. It was 18-16. But the Steelers did win. And now we're going to have a short week coming up against Cleveland on Thursday. Cleveland was a loss. That was a tough loss. That I was very into. And that was another one where I'm like, I got fooled. They fool me every time. Off the buy. Buying high off the Saints, off their interim coach. Or selling high, whatever the market is. James Winston revenge game. And I bought into that. And what did Winston do? He did what Winston does. He threw for 400 yards. They outgained the Saints. They won the turnover battle by 2. And they still got smoked. I mean, they weren't even ever in that game. They're so confusing. What's going on? Anyway, so we lost that one. What else did we lose? We had the Bengals, like we said. Money McPherson missing 2 field goals. That was a game where they were getting blown out. It looked terrible. Then all of a sudden, the Chargers started doing Charger things, and Joey Burrow and Jamar Chase were incredible. Should we get rid of the kick at this point? Did yesterday prove anything? The NFL wants to get rid of field goals. They hate kickers. They think it's effeminate. It's like 40% of the points. It does seem like people, like these men, do all these things that work, and the Bengals go, drive downfield at this huge comeback, and then McPherson, who calls himself money, just fucking hooks 2 field goals. Yeah, you son of a bitch. But Mahomes' numbers are insane. Let me look at some of these numbers. Listen to some of these numbers Patrick Mahomes has. He should I mean, if they had like 4 more wins, he'd be the MVP. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns in back-to-back games and lose them both. In the 7 losses this year, he's thrown for 2,100 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I only say that because, and not all stats are the same, but because he'll say, well, he's got to do more. He's got to do more. Will his team to win. He's got to do more. We're making excuses for him. Those are idiots that need to be on TV all the time. Virgil says Cleveland is freaking horrible. I mean, I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand like how they lost. It's not that they lost that game. It's how they lost that game. They were blown out. In the game, they outgained them and won the turnover battle. Like, none of it makes sense with Cleveland. They're like Stranger Things or something. Like, it's just paranormal stuff that happens with Cleveland. People like to say Chicago's cursed. Why? Because you got your field goal blocked? No, the Packers cheated and they just didn't make the call. That's not a curse. Oh, they're cursed. The Bears are cursed. It's not a fuck. They love saying they're cursed. Chicago loves it ever since the Billy Goat. They love saying they're cursed, which is the dumbest curse of all time. The Billy Goat curse, by the way. Let's get into that game. Packers 20, Bears 19. The Bears look good. They bounced back. It was a perfect bounce back spot. You buy low. Rivalry game. I hated Packers. The Packers beat them 10 times in a row. Make that 11. Caleb Williams, they fired the offensive coordinator. Caleb had accountability. Said, it was my fault. The team loved his leadership. And he looked good. He ran for like 80 yards, which I should have been on. I should have known quarterbacks in those desperate situations were going to run. That was a perfect ladder to hit. 3 for 220. Led him down the field for the game-winning field goal. Eberflus stops, by the way. Hilarious. They cross the 30. Then they're like, all right, just take a knee and run the clock down. Then we'll kick a 48-yard field goal. What? Why don't you run a few plays? Maybe try to get closer. Or, God forbid, score a touchdown like the Chargers did last night. Did you see that game last night, Coach? Where J.K. Dobbins ripped off of you when they were just trying to get a field goal range? They asked him, why'd you just take a knee? Why don't you try to get closer? He goes, well, we were afraid of fumbling. Okay. You're afraid of fumbling. That's a great sign for your team. Anyway, they do I will say this. They say it's because of the trajectory of the ball because it was a longer kick, so they're putting that on the coach. I don't know 100% on that. But I do know Santos is 71 for 71 from inside 40 yards. I do know that. So maybe he could get it higher. But I also know that was a penalty, what the Packers did. They just don't call this shit anymore. You're supposed to not be around to hit the long snapper. They bum rush them. They had a guy behind, like, fucking reverse tush pushing and shoving these fucking people when they're vulnerable. And like, blocked field goal, Packers win, 11 in a row. The curse of the Bears continues. And I was like, what a great play. Yeah, it's a great play because no one called it. It's also a cheating play. They cheated. And I'm not blaming the Packers. It's not on them to call the penalty on themselves. But I mean, come on, ref. What are you doing? Well, I don't understand how they don't call that. What else are you looking at? Because literally, I don't know if you've seen the reaction videos or the field or everything. We're all looking at one thing. The field goal. That line is amazing. I mean, the guy, they just fucking, the curse. I say the Billy Goat curse is dumb because that curse is a guy tried to bring literally his Billy Goat into the Cubs Wrigley Field. And they're like, yeah, no, you can't bring a live fucking barn animal in here. He goes, well, you guys are cursed. You guys all in the World Series because of my curse. Why do you think you would be allowed to bring a fucking goat into a stadium? What gave you that idea? What if it bit somebody? Get out of here. Yeah, you're cursed now. The curse of Babe Ruth, I can see that. That's something. Because you traded away the greatest baseball player ever lived. But a goat? That's not a curse. That's dumb. Anyway, shout out to the Billy Goat Tavern in Chicago. Great burger place. Cheeseburger. Virgil wants to know what the spread is going to be Thursday night game against Pitt. I believe the line is 4. The look-ahead line is 4. Pittsburgh, and not to preview my show, C-Generates, but I will be on those Cleveland Browns come Thursday. That is a trend. After playing Baltimore Ravens, short week there, Pittsburgh. The Russ Moon balls. I already talked about the damn moon balls. Yeah, he threw a moon ball interception in the end zone, didn't he? The moon ball. Ridiculous, I tell you. All right, anyway, let's move on. What other games were there? Cincinnati, Green Bay. The Jets loss was kind of funny. I gave out the Jets, and that I switched to San Francisco. They both lost, so I don't mind saying that. The Jets loss, that's they kicked the field goal to go up 5. So that would have been the cover, -4. And then Anthony Richardson drives him down the field and scores a touchdown. They wanted to go for Aaron Rodgers said he wanted to go for. They had the ball on the 12, 4th and 2. Now the Bills, that's where they went for it and scored a touchdown to win the game. But we had to suffer through the most nauseating play in all football, and that is Aaron Rodgers faking like he's going to call a play to try to draw the defense off sides. And now it's annoying when any team does it. It's super annoying when Aaron Rodgers does it. It's the equivalent of throwing over to first in baseball. You boo, even though, like, I know you can do this, but come on, you're wasting our time. You're not going to pick him off. He doesn't even want to steal. The drawing people off sides rarely works. But when Rodgers does it, oh, my God, is it an elaborate play? He's pointing fake audibles. Hey, I might go to you. I might go to you. Vaccines are frauds. The earth is flat. Birds aren't real. All right, Aaron. Just go to the sideline already. You know you're kicking a field goal. We don't trust you to do a damn thing, Rodgers. Tyson Paul was fixed. Stop with your conspiracy theories, Rodgers. I know you still have 20 seconds on the play clock, but do we all have to suffer through this? So I was happy the Jets lost outright, and now they have a bye, and their fucking fake intern coach said, it's a good week for a bye. It's a good week so we don't have to watch you, but how it's good for you guys. No, Virgil, maybe the Steelers do cover. Who knows? All right. So I took San Francisco instead, who also lost outright. Now, that was a perfect game. I was watching that here in the studio. I was watching all the games here in the studio. Sean and Ryan, as we did some content. And I watched the Thursday Night Eagles game. I had to leave because it was a bad vibe. I had to switch up the luck. I didn't like it. I had to leave. Sean's wife, Tess, came by. The dog was by. I'm like, I can't have these people see me like this. I was freaking out. But yesterday, the only bad vibes were going like when we had different bets against each other. Like we had Cincy and Charger bets splitting. Sean did some dirty work, by the way, some reverse jinxing, which I did not appreciate. But point is, we both had San Fran -6.5. And they looked like they were ready to roll. Geno Smith was doing Geno Smith things, throwing interceptions and whatnot. Bosa was getting sacks. And then Bosa got hurt. And then it was over. Then they just couldn't get to him. And then Seattle. And then it became a game all of a sudden. And that's when San Francisco at least did the decent thing and lost outright. And that's all I ask. That's all I ask my teams. If you're not going to cover the spread, don't you dare win the game. Have the decency to lose like gentlemen. And the Niners did. They lost on a last-second run by Geno Smith, and they look like they're in trouble. Although they play the Packers next week as dogs. So we'll see what happens there. But Bosa, God, they showed Bosa every single time. And there's Bosa. Did I mention it? I think I talked about it. It's fine. That was the thing that happened over the weekend. Everyone was doing the Trump dance. Speaking of Bosa, who's a big MAGA guy. You know that thing that Trump thing does with his arms? It's kind of a funny thing to do. It's kind of like a little engine, like a little Tommy the Train or whatever that fucking thing is. John Jones did it at the UFC thing. Brock Bowers did it. DeAndre Hopkins. A lot of players did the Trump dance. And if you go on X, and it is an alt-right website now, the way Elon Musk has the algorithms, and you get like Clay Travis and those guys, and they're all like, oh, look at all these players doing the Trump dance. I feel bad for woke ESPN who has to handle this. All right. You actually think DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley are Trump supporters, or do you think they're doing a funny fucking dance? Now, Bosa and Bowers, yeah, you could probably sell me on that. But there's not this worshiping of Trump because of the dance. The dance is funny because he's a fucking cartoon character. Anyway. Not that I get worked up over that. It's just hilarious that the owning they everyone want us to think they're doing. The owning and this fucking, how are they going to handle it? I can't wait to see how they melt down over this. Let's see reaction shots to the Trump dance and reaction shots to the Bears block field goal. It's all about fucking reaction shots. All right. Anyway, that was the weekend in games, I think, right? That's pretty much all of them. And then you have Detroit. We won the Survivor, the road to $500,000,000.
$700 billion and $1.3 trillion.
$590K, I think the Bet Online Survivor pool is. We had Detroit, obviously a cigar piece, not to have to worry. They only won 52-6. Detroit. That's why I needed the Packers to lose for the Survivor, but whatever. Point is, we move on. But Detroit, you're slowly becoming a little less lovable. We like Dan Campbell. He's fun and all. We like watching you play. And now you're clearly the best team in football. But what was Dan Campbell? Was he trying to get Doug Peterson fired? Is that what it was? Was it like that scene in Goodfellas when they robbed the truck or whatever? Like, hey, can you beat me up a little bit so it looks like my boss, so I can tell my boss, or was that Sopranos when they do that? Rough him up, and they really rough him up and they almost kill him. And Peterson's like, can you really blow me out, Dan? I don't want to coach you even one more game. They kicked a field goal. Up by 43 points. They're up by 43 points. It was 49-6, and they kicked a field goal. Why? To get to 50? You go for it on every fourth down. Now you kick, Campbell? So they're becoming a little less lovable in that department, if you ask me. But glad they won, and they do look great. They look like the best team in football, that's for sure. And if you have to go to Detroit, that's going to be tough. Feach Lamagna, welcome to the chat. He says, what's up, Deli Lama? Have we talked about John Gruden joining Barstool yet? I did talk about John. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to go in the box for this, Feach. Glad you brought that up. And welcome to the chat. Never too late to join the chat. Hit the thumbs up button again here. Thank you for joining me here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Subscribe to all the shows. Good luck on all the plays that I gave out. I will not recap the plays for your Feach. That you can start from the beginning. Because it's basically a recap show anyway. I talked about it last show. Yeah, John Gruden. Listen, I'm a fan of John Gruden. I also think he got railroaded. They just wanted out of that 10-year, $100 million contract. So those leaked emails. Where, whatever. I don't want to get into it, but I don't mind John Gruden. And I don't mind the turn he did of being like this Alex Jones guy who's just screaming about highlights. Even though it's clearly cultural appropriation and ripping off my intellectual property. It's basically man in a box. Gruden stole man in a box from me. I'm not saying he saw me or anything, but I'm saying that's my persona. Yelling in a box, screaming about highlights. Now, he's more positive, and he knows a lot more about football, sure. But he is me. But you know what? If it keeps it relevant, I'm fine. Whatever. The more the merrier. Now he's on Barstool. And this is what I don't like about this. And he's giving the handle Barstool Gruden. And you know I takes on Barstool. Whatever. Barstool's not for me. They're very successful. And, of course, I'm jealous of that. I'm not jealous of their talent, but I'm jealous of their success. Why wouldn't I be? But this is what's weird about the Barstool with John Gruden, is what I'll say. You know, they have him watching him in a football game, and they pick his brain, but they're just sitting around, and it just looks weird. It looks like one of those, like, 80s or 90s comedies where they kidnap somebody, like Celtic Pride, where they kidnap them, and they treat them nicely because they respect them, but they want to win the game, and then they become friends with them, they befriend them, and he becomes friends with his kidnappers just so that's the way he can eventually escape, you know? Lull them to sleep, if you will. And that's what it looks like. Gruden looks like one of those guys they kidnapped. And they go, oh, tell us about Jay Cutler, Rich Cat. Like, it's weird. Look at these Gruden stories. He's the best. Go to fucking hell, Barstool. I don't know. It's just creepy. I'll just say that. Anyway. All right, let me do some box stuff since we are in the box. That was a lot of bar stuff already. Barstool already. Things I didn't talk about last week. Tommy DeVito's back. How about that? I'll talk about more on Thursday. No, Maron. Just in time for Thanksgiving, Maron. Tommy DeVito. Tommy Cutlets. Dago Dimes. If you do follow me on X, @CDSullivan_ or @CDSullivan was taken _ two words for Instagram. I reposted my video I made last year, and I can see how far in advance I've come with my editing in a year span. But this is what we're going to have to get ready for with Tommy DeVito coming back for the Giants. One, over-the-top Italian jokes. Openly racist Italian jokes, but no one cares. Irish and Italians, we can make fun of all we want. And that's what they're there for. You're on the last of the Mohicans that we can make fun of. But then his reporters ask him, hey, Tommy, what time do you eat dinner on Sunday? They ask him all these over-Italian questions, and he gets sick of it, but fuck it. You have that Italian agent? We're talking Italian. Hey, Tommy, how long do you stir the sauce for? How about your mother? Does she do your laundry? Tommy, tell us all about it. So anyway, I did a scene. It's like that scene in Donnie Brasco when the FBI agents are asking Johnny Depp, hey, what's forget about it mean? What's forget about it? Like, you know, forget about it. Like, hey, you got a 2-inch penis. Forget about it. Would you like to stoop that ring girl from the Jake Paul fight? Forget about it. That's what they ask Tommy DeVito after football games. Anyway, so that's going to be a part of that. That'll come into the play come Thursday. Anyway, let me talk about, what did I want to talk about? Just your normal stuff here. My normal angry stuff that I talk about here in the box. I gotta remember this is for me too. It's for you guys and for me. Because friends don't want to hear it. Doctors don't want to hear it. So I'll let you guys hear it. This is a true story. This didn't happen today, but it happened over the weekend. Or what? This happened over the week. Two things happened driving-wise. And in LA driving stories, I know it's hack to talk about, but they happen so often. So often, like, I don't even talk about the ones. I didn't realize how angry I got in the car until I made the Road to 10 Million videos and I saw myself in the car. And, like, I understand why. I don't apologize for it. People are fucking crazy. People are fucking crazy. Everyone is insane. I'm driving off Highland to go on the 101 real quick to make my right to Barnum. That's what I do. I go up Highland to the 101, and then you got to get over 8 lanes to the Barnum so I can get over to the 134. I've explained this before. I used to take Cahuenga. That way you avoid the 101. You don't have to get over it. You don't have to make that mad rush over there to save 8 seconds. But then my buddy Nick Vatterod's like, no, take the 101. It's part of the rush. It's all we have left in life. And since I quit drinking, he's kind of right. I'm like, you're right. This is the fun part, getting over. Getting over in a half a mile stretch. You got to get over like a half a mile stretch in the 70 miles an hour. It's crazy, like 8 lanes. Anyway, but I'm not even there yet. I'm getting onto the 101. And lanes kind of merge into one. And all of a sudden, this truck comes at a truck, like an SUV. comes into my lane, not looking, and I have to do a quick swerve, lay on the horn, and we're close. We almost swapped paint, you know? We're within a foot of each other. She almost hits me. There was a woman. I'm not saying anything about that, but she comes over, almost hits me. I hit the horn, and then she fucking peels off. She knows she's in the wrong. Tries to outgun me. Gets on the 101 and goes straight because she doesn't want to hear confrontation. Well, at this point, I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm following you now. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss my exit because I need to get a look at you and tell you, hey, what the fuck? You almost killed me. No signal, of course, ever, because God forbid anyone in Los Angeles puts on a turn signal before they turn. They'll do it afterwards. They'll put the signal on afterwards. Like, hey, look at me. Did you see what I did? I made a turn. Yeah, congratulations. Post your selfie. Anyway, she's fucking flying. And I'm not going 200 miles an hour chase, but I'm moving pretty quickly. I'm making some moves. I'm going to find her. Eventually it comes down to where she gives up and she knows, well, I'm going to catch her and I'm not going to let up. So I pull up next to her. We're both going about 70 on the 101. And what's she do? She puts her head down in shame, like she's a dog who knows she's in shame. You know, like a dog after rips your couch apart when you're away at work and you come home like, what the fuck, Odie? What you doing? It's got its head down like, I know I messed up. But this is a lady, knows she almost killed me, so she's got her head down, looking at her lap, not even like fake texting, just head down, but still driving on the highway. So I'm like kind of yelling, but I'm like not yelling, but I'm like, what the, hey, lady. Now I'm like, lady, pick your head up. This is worse than what you did back there. Now you're putting many lives at risk, including your own. Not that I want you to wreck or anything like that, but I mean, Jesus, pick your fucking head up. What you're doing now is worse than that there. How do you think how is that your reaction? Not even like face the music. Give me, hey, I'm sorry. I would have even taken that. And I would have done an impotent, I mean, just okay, but be more careful next time. Head down. Incredible. People are fucking insane. And this weekend, I'm leaving a parking spot at Griffith Park after my morning tournament at Roosevelt. Shout out to the Roosevelt Golf Club. I did terrible, by the way. I was very rusty, and I did not play well. But, so parking's tough on Saturdays because now you get the golf parking, but you got the hikers. These goddamn weekend hikers come in there, and they take all our spots. So anyway, I'm leaving a spot, and then this other SUV starts coming into the spot, which, okay. But common courtesy, common sense, and science tells you in order to enter the parking spot, the other vehicle needs to be out of the parking spot. And this car was not waiting for me to get out of it. I was backing up, and he's coming around and like coming into me and almost clipped me. And I stopped. I'm like, what are you doing? And it's not like there was a race for it. This wasn't like Black Friday at the mall. He was the only one there. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm trying to park there. Like, matter-of-factly. Oh, are you? Okay, cool. Oh, I didn't know you were trying to park there. Well, I'm trying to leave there right now. Why don't you wait till I leave, and then you can park when the spot is empty? That way your car will fit, and it won't collide with my car. Does that make sense? Does that work out for you? I'm trying to park there. I'm trying to get over there. I'm not thinking about other people. Oh, man. Amazing. I don't know. Oh, boy, this show's getting late. I can't even talk about my Venmo customer call service. I'll wait for that one. Well, we'll save for that. Anyway, that's it for the box. Let me get out of the box. Where is the... That was voice. Now I felt like I'm in a car. I should do my road rage in the box. All right. Virgil Regards Jr. says, how many times do we need to see that video? The video's agent. That's right. The agent of Tommy DeVito. You're going to see a lot of him. My God. He wears the green suit, the gold jacket. He is Italian. That's for sure. We'll talk about him next show. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here live in the chat. You guys are amazing, including Virgil Regards, Feach Lamagna, ML. Cereal. I haven't seen cereal in forever. Tell you what, cereal, if your Cowboys do win tonight, which they won't, I'll be happy for you. There's another guy I know who's a Cowboy fan who I said earlier, if I did know he was a Cowboy fan before I became friends with him, I would not be friends with him. But also it'll help me in Survivor because a lot of people are on the Texans tonight, so maybe that'll help as well. Other than that, thank you for joining the show. You got all the plays. Good luck with that. I'll see you later on the week. Give me 5-star review on Spotify. That would help as well. Not just a thumbs up. Subscribe to all the other Sports Gambling podcast shows. Subscribe to my other podcast, The Blackout Diaries, I do with Sean Flannery. We have Shane Torres coming on this week, Drinking Storytelling Show. It's a fun show. Like I said, subscribe, like, share, do whatever you got to do. And now listen to the theme song. I don't know how to end conversations. Like when I'm getting dropped off somewhere, I'm like, okay, you ever make plans as you're getting dropped off and just fucking leave? Okay, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? What? Thanksgiving? I don't know. Get out of my car. All right, sorry. I don't know how to end conversations. I'm extremely awkward. Goodbye.